Hi, this is Ankur Patel. I want to show you our integration with vPLEX and vRops. So why do we need this? If you go to a current instance of vPLEX or Metronode, you'll see that we do have performance graphs in the vPLEX, but they only go back a handful of minutes, right? Even if I look at something like the virtual volumes, right, in here, what you'll see is even though we list all the virtual volumes and give you performance statistics for them, they're really just a single point in time. So when it comes time to troubleshooting or finding what historical performance looked like on a particular volume, either you use something like vPLEX storage monitoring and reporting, which I'll show you in a different video, or in this case, if you've got a pretty decent VMware environment, you could use our vRops integration. So this is the dashboard. So if you go into one of the examples here, where I go into the general dashboard view, you can see something in the tree here under Dell EMC Storage vPLEX. So topology view is the view I have here on the right. So in here you can actually see an overview on the right side of what the vPLEX is doing. But if you go to a specific VM that's sitting on a data store that's part of vPLEX, you can see the entire map. So you can see what data store it's coming from. You can see what system it's on, the data center, vCenter level. So you've got that full view. If I actually go expand this down a little bit so you can see the whole thing. If I go to a specific extent, for example here, you can see the map, how an extent maps to a virtual volume up to a storage view. So now a vAdmin can look at this without having to go through the vPLEX UI. So a pretty nice feature. And if I click on a data store, right, I can see all the VMs that are on that data store, again, going up to the host that it's assigned to and the data store. If I go into the performance tab, I can see some pretty nice things. The overview of performance from a director standpoint, if I have any errors, right? The typical, green is good, and for anything that has actual data, you'll see different colors. From an overview standpoint, so I can look at the data, what's going on in the vPLEX, any alerts. And from a communication standpoint, I don't have any I/O running here, but if I did, you could see things like what's the throughput that each WAN port is doing, or in this case, the director level. So if I go into data store capacity, which is under the same tree, here you can see everything at the data store level, right? All the data stores are assigned to that specific cluster. In this case, I have a vPLEX cluster. If I go to a specific data store, I can see things like what is the capacity of all my data stores that go back to a vPLEX, and how much capacity is remaining. And then based on some math that they're using, they can estimate how much time I have left before that volume fills up. But at a data center level, I can also look at some level of performance, right? This is okay because I can see everything at the data store or data center level, sorry, not data store. But here you can see the throughput of the entire data center. So this is going to be all the volumes across the entire environment that's assigned to that specific data center. If I go to capacity, again, kind of see the same thing, right? What capacity is remaining. If I go into the object browser, you'll see the Dell EMC Adapter. And what I want to show you here specifically is you'll see two, right? Dell Storage Adapter, Dell EMC Adapter. When you go to the support site to download the specific ESA pack, you want to make sure that you select the right one. Right? So select the one that you saw on that site, and you will get access to all of our legacy EMC arrays. The Dell adapter will show you some of the legacy Dell storage. So here, if I go down to the Dell EMC adapter, the vPLEX cluster, and you can see the specific ESX storage view that I have, right? So you'll see here all the ports assigned to it and all the volumes that are assigned to that specific storage view. So again, this is a way you can look at it without having to log into a vPLEX UI. If I click on a specific device or virtual volume here, I can look at some statistics. This one I don't believe has much going on, but you can see the different stats that you're able to see. So let me look at a different volume here that has some actual I/O going on. So if I click on a different one, let me clear up the window here. So if I go to metrics here, let me show you some that actually has some performance. So I'll go to the total write count, and you can see, right, some pretty good activity. If I go and expand the tree, right, you can see the virtual volume, you can see the device, you can see what that device is comprised of, right, which volumes is it comprised of. So it's a pretty good way to see the entire tree. But here on the right, again, you've got your performance, but you're able to see that you're going pretty far back, right? You're not limited to just the 5-minute window. And a feature of vRops is that you can go further back. So I can select last 30 days, select go, and you can see the performance of that volume, over that entire period. So again, from a troubleshooting standpoint, this makes it a little bit easier because I can look at historical data. And you can see here the tree, right? There's so many other different things you can look at. So engine level, extent level, right? So here I can look at all the directors and every port on there, and I can get a summary. Are there any alerts? Are there any issues going on? If I go back up to the cluster level, I can show you a specific alert. So I know there's something going on with this VPLEX cluster, right? You'll see the alert here. You can drill down and get some indication of potentially what's going on. Right at this point, you may want to run a health check command on the array. But I can also look at my storage array, see all the arrays that are zoned to that VPLEX. I can look at all the virtual volumes. These are not just the virtual volumes that are assigned to an ESX cluster, but every virtual volume on the VPLEX itself. So through here, the same set of statistics that you saw before, but right, I can look at the performance of those specific volumes. Again, these don't specifically have to be tied to an ESX cluster, right? This could be the entire array. So hopefully that gave you a decent idea of what you're able to see using the integration we have with vRops. Thank you for your time.